So this video is in case if you missed Legacy Youth last night. This is a recap of what we talked about. Pastor Victoria shared a message titled Influence, and the title of her message was Influence Leads to Impact. Influence leads to impact. And one of the statements that she talked about was how who you allow to influence yourself impacts your eternity. Who you allow to influence yourself impacts your eternity. And she talked about how we have an influence in our life, and whether we believe it or not, that God has given each and every single one of us influence amongst those that are around us. And it's up to us to decide how we use that to impact others. And she talked about how who or what we surround ourselves with will change who we are. And it's not worth surrounding ourselves with someone who will pull us away from the Lord. And the challenge that she had was, are we surrounding ourselves with people that are influencing us to have a closer relationship with the Lord? And one of the scriptures that she shared from was 1 Corinthians 15:33. And it says, "Do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals." The other scripture she talked from was, "Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm," from Proverbs 13:20. The other was Jeremiah 15:19, and it reads, "This is how the Lord responds. If you return to me, I will restore you so you can continue to serve me. If you speak good words rather than worthless ones, you will be my spokesman. You must influence them. Do not let them influence you." And this challenge was for us, that as disciples of Jesus, that we are called to influence other people. And if we call ourselves Christians, then people are looking to us as to how we live. And if they see us and how we live, that they set that as a standard of what it means to be a disciple, what it means to be a Christian, what it means to be a believer. And whether you believe it or not, you have influence and you will leave an impact. And it's not about being perfect, but everything that happens in the dark will eventually come to the light. So what you're doing in the dark will come to the light, whether good or bad. And when it does, you have a choice to make. Will you choose God, or will you choose to remain in the darkness? And the other thing that she talked about was how Jesus is the vine. And that's from John 15:5. And it says, "I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that he bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." So how do you want to influence others? If you have a desire to use your influence for good, it first starts from building a relationship with Jesus. And we can only do that when we spend time with Jesus. And change happens when we spend time with Jesus. Like the change that we're longing for, the breakthrough that we're longing for, to have a positive influence, it comes from spending time with Jesus. And she shared this story about a young lady named Reese. And before Pastor Victoria came here, she was worked with sports as a news anchor, and she did a lot of material on sports and interviewing with high school, college, different things like that. And she shared this story about this young lady who was a freshman in high school, and she was an exceptional basketball player. And they only lost 2 games in the regular season. They were on their way to playoffs. And at the time, Victoria came home to watch the Super Bowl with her family on vacation, and she had just did a news article on this young lady a week before the Super Bowl. And so she was at home and she gets a text that 3 of the athletes that they were working with got into a car accident. And because they're minors, she didn't know all the information or anything like that. She just knew that there was an accident. And later the next morning, she was up all night praying, thinking about it. And she woke up in the morning and she got the call that it was this young lady that was in the car accident, and she died on impact. And it was a few months later, they had a basketball camp at the school, and she said that there was thousands of kids that showed up to be a part of this camp. And she talked about how this young lady, her life was taken at a young age, but even though this happened, there was an influence that came from it. There was an impact that came from it. And she shared that this young lady, because of her dedication and what she did, she impacted others. And Victoria's challenge to us was this, that what you're rooted in matters, and how you live your life matters. And if you abide in Jesus, you can leave an impact for eternity, but the choice is yours on how you will leave that impact. So I challenge you guys, think about the influence that you have and how you want God to use you through it. Hope to see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching.